Hello, my friends. We're back for another set of letters. Already done my warm-up, so you can see I've done some straight lines, some up and over, some curve arounds, and some of the fancier ones. And I also am practicing the letters from yesterday or the last video when we learned the I, L, the T, and the F. So a good warm-up is to kind of do your basic strokes and then practice the letters that you learned in the previous lesson. So as we go along, we'll be having more and more letters in all of our warm-ups. And today we're going to learn about branching letters. There's lots of branching letters. I'm probably going to need 2 pages for everything. The first branching letter we'll look at is the letter N. Okay, so for an N, we're going to start with a downstroke, so thick, then an up thin, down thick, and end with a up going thin. Okay, notice that I can still pick up my pen when I'm doing this. All right, so I can do the downstroke, pick up my pen, do the thin upstroke, the thick downstroke, and the thin upstroke. Okay, I didn't pick up my pen for the I's, L's, T's, and F's because they were, well, the T's I do for the cross and the I's for the dots. But for the main part of the letter, it's just one stroke. But the N has an up and down, so it's actually similar to some of these or combinations of these here. Okay, so again, we're using the basic strokes and just putting them together. So a down, thick, plus, and up, and over. To put the other part. Okay, down, thick, then up, and down, and then up again. Okay, like all of your letters, you can vary, or all of your strokes even, you can vary the verticalness, I guess, how straight up and down it is. Straight up and down like that, and over, straight down, and up again. You can make it lean more. You can even give it a bit of a curve. Let's see, we can curve it this way. And you can make it thinner or like more condensed, like narrower. Or wider, which we call extended. That one's really extended, very exaggerated. Anywhere in between. Okay, our next branching letter is very much related to the N, and that is the M. So, same thing, down, nice and thick, and then up, down thick again, and then up, down thick, and up on the ending. So on this one, I can pick up my pen 2 times. So it's just like the N plus, right? So I can go down, pick up my pen, up and down, pick up my pen, up and down, and up. Okay, just like the N, we can have variations. So these have been pretty straight up and down. I can lean it a little bit. I can lean it a lot. Okay. When you have more than one downstroke or upstroke, you want to make sure that you're kind of keeping them similar. So we call it like parallel lines or whatever. So like this line here is at the same angle as that line. So all parts of the M lean the same amount, or all parts of the M are straight up and down like they were on the first one I drew. So here's another one that's straight up and down. So down thick, up thin, down thick, up thin, and down thick. You can make them condensed, really narrow. And when you do that, you also want to kind of keep the same amount of space between each of the downstrokes. which will help you keep the angle the same on the upstrokes. And then I'll try and put in a wider one over here in the space that I have left. Yeah. And again, same amount of space. Okay, my next branching letter is the letter H. So H is going to be very similar to N. Again, all the branching letters are similar. That's why they're in this group. Okay, but it's got a tall beginning. So a very simple H would be down with a thick, and then just like the N. Up thin, down thick, and up on the ending. Down thick, up thin, down thick, up thin. Okay, you can make it lean more. Again, keep the downstrokes on the same angle when you lean. And that might help if you drew the pencil lines that I showed you in another video to help with your angles. And you can make them condensed and extended. So let's just do a very narrow condensed version. Okay. And you can also add to the H one of the sort of strokes we had on the L, the upstrokes here, this kind of thing right there, to get it started. So you would start up thin, down thick, and then up thin, and down thick, and up again. Okay, so that one, when I added the curve around, it actually sort of bent the vertical part of the H. So it's another way that you can add curvature to your letters. So again, if I make it lean more, it'll probably curve more as well. So leaning over, curving around, and then up. Yeah. And it gets a whole different character or style to it as you go further and further into the leaning and the curving. Okay, but you could just simply add this to a very vertical H like that. And it's still quite stylish. So again, experiment with what you like. Find a style that speaks to you and practice that. Okay, my next letter is going to be the letter B. And so B is kind of like the H, but the bottom is closed, right? So we're going to start with a down, thick, and then we're going to go up, thin, and around with it coming down thick and connecting at the bottom. So down thick, up and around, and connect at the bottom. Okay, just like the H, I can change the angle. And I can even add the loop at the top. Okay, and when I add the loop at the top, I got more curve in the down stroke part of it. Okay, so again, explore different ways of drawing your B, find your own style, and practice what looks good to you. Whether it's going to be a straight down and up and around, or a fancier loop on a curve, up and around. And one thing I'll point out here that applied to the N, M, H as well is that when I start the upstroke, I'm starting from the very bottom, not starting from the middle. So come all the way to the bottom, go up and around. And you want to start let's see, if I pick up the pen, I want to start the next stroke exactly where I picked it up. So if I drew it down, I ended there. So the next stroke starts there. It doesn't start up in the middle anywhere. So it starts down there, it goes up and around. Okay, our next branching letter is a P, basically upside down B. All right, so this one we can start with a downstroke. I'll try and rotate my paper so you can see better, which makes it slightly awkward for me to write, but Okay, and I said you want to always start your next stroke wherever you ended. So I ended way down there, even though the P round part is up above. So I'm still going to start down there and come up the thin stroke and around and down the thick stroke again. Okay, so down, up, down thick, and around. Okay, you can also curve these. This, up and around and down. Okay, like the other letters, you can make them narrower or condensed, and you can make them wider. Okay, I can also, some people like to add a little bit of an up when they start. So a slight up, then a down, up, down and around. Okay, which sort of gives you like the connection to the letter before when you actually get to the point where you're writing words with these. So up, down, up from the bottom, down and around. Okay, our next branching letter is the letter K. K is one of the more complicated letters. So it has 3 parts, whereas most letters have 1 or 2 parts. And so we're going to start just like we did with the B or the H. We're going to do a nice thick down, and we're going to come up from the bottom and make a small loop in the middle. So from the bottom, small loop, thick going down, and then we're going to start. Let's see if I can make this so you can see it. At the end of that loop, come down. Okay, so down thick, up from the bottom, a little loop around, and then down. And my K's are hard to draw when I have to keep rotating for the camera. So I will just draw one here, and then I will show you. So up from the bottom, around, and down. Okay, just like the B and the H, you can add, well, let's lean it first. You can lean it over, up and around, and down. And you can add that loop. Right, so a nice up thin loop, down and around, up from the bottom, small loop, and then the lower leg. And so when a letter has a piece that comes from the middle down, it's a leg. And when it has a long downstroke, it's a stem. There's lots of names for letter parts. I'll share a video about those later. Okay, up from the bottom, around, and down. Make a really wide one. And it's so wide that the top loop kind of pushed everything down. So maybe to get that to work, we'll make the wide loop, top loop much higher. Come up, get some space in the middle for that loop, and then a nice light there. Okay. And our very last branching letter is actually rather different. That's the letter R. Okay, so in calligraphy, handwriting, and such, the letter R looks like up thin, around, over, and down thick. Okay, again, I'm going to do this at an angle so the camera can see it. So up thin, loop around, cross, and then thick down. Okay, you can also add a little bit of up at the end, like that, and go back to thin. Some people like to do their R's much more on an angle. So the first part goes up there, and then the cross part actually comes down and goes into the downstroke there. I'm not particularly good at that variety, but it's very popular. Kind of like that. But there's nothing wrong with doing them flat across the top, like that. either way. Okay, like the other letters, you can go narrow or wide. You can lean them more, or mine are pretty upright so far, so if you do one that leans a lot, it'd be more like that. Okay, and you can do a very narrow one, and a really big, wide one. There you go. Okay, so those are all the branching letters. It's quite a lot for today. We had the N's, M's, and H's, the B's, P's, K's, and R's. So continue to fill out your pages with those. When we're done, like I said, you'll probably need 2 pages. So this is what I've got. And you can see, just keep playing around with the different ways that you can draw the N, M, H, B, K, P, and R. And really, we're getting close to half the alphabet, and we've only done 2 sets of letters. So remember to put your date and put it with your others so that you can keep track of your progress.